So Caio and I will be the hosts for this next hour. So Caio, would you like to start introducing yourself, please?
Of course. So once again, glad to be here. Thanks for the invite and getting us the connection with the inspiring workplace team here. It's been always a pleasure to be here. So I'm Caio Infante. I'm the regional vice president for Radancy, so the leading HR tech company focused on employer branding, candidate experience, all the talent acquisition platform. And I oversee for nearly 9 years the region Latin America. I sit here in São Paulo in this nice picture you just saw. And I'm part of a nice community here called EBB, focused also on all the HR discussions. I have 40,000 people discussing HR daily in our community as well. I'm also investor in some HR startups, so pretty much HR is my life, as you can see.
No, amazing. And remarkable that you are a 4-time now elected as the most influential HR professional in Brazil. You must be proud of that, right?
Fifth time probably next Tuesday. So the next result will come next Tuesday. So hopefully fifth time.
I don't want to anticipate anything, but looks like it will be the fifth time together. And just another curiosity for our audience, Caio. I know that you are participating in employer
brand summit in China. Yeah.
Yes, and tell me about that. The thing that I saw, the invite is not mentioning you as Caio Infante, but mentioning you as Caio Messi. Can you tell us? Can you explain what is that? What's happening here?
Some people, some friends would call me Messi. You know, some people say look alike. Some people saw me playing football here, and eventually, why not? Right?
Okay. No, I thought that you were the Messi of employer branding, not the footballistically speaking Messi.
The only difference, the only difference between Messi and myself, it's the bank account. Bank account. That's the main difference. Everything else, I'm closer to the football skills rather than the bank account. So it's so good. He doesn't understand much about the HR and people as I do. I know that.
No, as you can see, Caio and I are good friends, and we're trying to joke around, and that's part of the fun of having a session like today. So introduce myself very quickly. Gustavo Tavares. I've been with Inspire Workplaces as ambassador for LATAM for the past 3 years now. I'm also a member of the Inspire Workplaces Awards jury board since 2003. I have been developing my career for over 25 years. That out loud 25 years, but that's what it is. Been working with many big consulting companies, Korn Ferry, Hay Group, Top Employers Institute. Now I'm working developing the talent solutions area of Aon in Brazil, with international experience, having lived in Mexico and Brazil. So kind of lots of things, and I guess in a similar way to Caio, most of what we are presenting today is much more related to the conversations we have with clients and friends from the things that we are throwing up and more, let's say, theoretical stuff. So the idea here today is to have this conversation in terms of helping you understand what's going on in Latin America, what can be opportunities, what can be challenges, and how can we help you manage the effectiveness of your structures the best way possible in our region. So moving on to the next one, what we'll see here is the contents for today's session. So as you can see, lots of topics, but the idea is that one another for the next hour. So the idea is to start with a little bit context in terms of how engagement is working in Latin America. If you had the chance to watch our previous materials and previous years of the Inspire Workplaces PeopleFirst Summit, you see that we always try to focus a lot on how can we help you understand the differences between what we see in Latin America and what we see in other parts of the world. The idea today is about the same. So, but in a different perspective, what we're going to do is candidate experience of the employee experience. That's something that Caio will be sharing with us in a moment. So this is what we're going to do right now. So starting with a little bit of the context, moving on to candidates, motivations and behaviors. How can we hire the high talents in Latin America? Connections that matters. Then we start talking a little bit about the awards. So one of the things that we see that is very valuable is how can we close the gap between all the initiatives that we have in terms of engagement and effectiveness and things like that, and how can we build trust and how can we build engagement with our teams. So the final 4 topics of our presentation will be dedicated to that. And Caio already knows this, but I'm not going to do this as a monologue. So the idea here is that we interact as much as possible. Please, Caio, interfere, comment, disagree. That's the idea here of today's session, so we can talk and we can contribute a lot to our fellow participants. So starting out with the engagement context. So lots of things going on here. So as you can see, there are a few topics that I'm bringing. Not much of them are the same of with something that is a little bit concerning is that we see employee engagement in rates dropping again in 2024, 2025. This is a data from Gallup, and even Inspire Workplaces is bringing this as a reference, especially among managers, directly, obviously, impacting productivity and confidence of teams. So this is something very interesting to see that is what we call the sandwich effect. So you see a better engagement at the bottom, and at the top of a hard time to make things happen. So this is something that we'll be discussing. Caio probably has some insights to share with us about why this is happening, but this is important for us to understand exactly what is causing this decline in terms of the engagement for especially team leaders. The economic cost for disengagement remains staggering. This is something that we see with a lot of concern. I have presented, I guess, last year some indicators that we see that the cost of between 80 and 200% of the annual total cost of this employment. So you can imagine how impactful this is. And even though we see that there's not a big movement in the market for new hires and movements in terms of people changing jobs, by the way, what's happening is exactly the opposite. Something that is also interesting to observe is that people are disengaged, but they're not really doing much about it. So it's not that we see people disengaging and say, no, I'm going to switch jobs, I'm going to look for something different.
They're doing, Gustavo.
That is happening a lot. So, Caio, guys, go ahead.
No, just to do to add my 10 cents here. They do what they call like an actively retirement. So they do nothing about it, right? So they pretend they work, they pretend they work, they pretend they're a lot of stuff, but they do nothing about it. So just time passes by and the years working and the retirement event will come. So that's how this kind of situation.
This is the 2025 version of this of the quiet quitting. So you have people retiring while they're working.
Yeah, kind of.
Wow, something that this is the first time I hear that. So interesting to hear that. So something that is, and then also connected to that, Caio, you see that we have this data from Aon. We have an all-time low voluntary turnover for the second consecutive year. So we had this in 2024. Now we see this again 2025. And the interesting contrast of that is that at the same time we see, when we ask for the employee sentiment, we see that employees are considering to change jobs within the next 12 months. It's a very surveyed employees in Latin America. are considering changing jobs within the next 12 months. So there's
I'll bring some
increased
data for
pressure.
this too. So we are
Oh,
aligned.
amazing.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
Excellent. So increased pressure on redesign the manager roles and the employee experience approach. This is something that we see also a lot. Non-monetary recognition is being highly valued, especially among Gen Zs. This is something that we also see. It's not just about money anymore. It's about money and experience and perspective and things that we often call here in Latin America the emotional salary. Let's say the position. So we have the compensation that is not cash. Is obviously everything else that is not cash. Some greater relevance in terms of benefits. So can we see the perception of fairness even more amplified, something that we see a lot, again, especially among Gen Zs, and employer reputation more widespread and becoming viral. So anything that happens with your employer branding is easily spread. It's becoming viral very quickly. So anything that can happen, negative or positive, it can be something that it can damage your reputation very quickly. America, that people who have formal jobs, as we call here CLTs, people that have formal jobs, they are being made fun of. So the people who are contractors or people who are freelancers or people who have, let's say, a more informal working regime, they are making fun of these people who have formal jobs because you're too old. This is too old-fashioned. This is something that is very against your well-being and things like that. And at the same time, we see that those people are better protected. A lot is that now they call themselves CLT premiums. So people who have jobs, they consider themselves to be in a premium spot rather than people who are freelance. So very interesting discussions, everything that is happening in social media that can reflect to the lives on HR and everything that we see on companies. That's the idea, to bring you the background of everything that is happening in Latin America. So Caio, moving on. So the stage is yours now.
Yep.
Let me know exactly what you have prepared to all of us, and take it away, my friend.
Thank you. So again, please share your comments, your impressions, your experience with us as well. So I brought here some data again. I think it's important not only saying what our impressions, what we think, or what we see, but what we see based on data. So this is a survey we've done with nearly 2,000 candidates throughout LATAM in terms of behavior, salary, motivations, all before joining a company, right? And then that might explain in the end, and we're going to discuss it, the engagement, the turnovers, and everything else. Because probably what's happening, just to give some spoiler here, is that what you're selling as a company, as an employer, you're not delivering. That's something that we see more and more. It should be the opposite. We should be companies being more consistent and being more true about what they do, right? And how they do, what they offer as an employer. But the distance is still, or the gap is still big. And that's pretty much what we see. And again, we're going to share some data to enrich our discussion, and not to say Caio thinks this or Gustavo likes that. It's just not, we know the data and we try to balance and value what we have in here. So I tried to summarize. I mean, the survey is actually bigger than what I brought today, but it's good for us to, again, to put some real information into the discussion. So
let me know when you want me to switch slides.
I'll say next. Okay, thank you so much. No, go back. I'll go back. So just for me to, Okay. So why you, and I mean, why candidates, right? Every time I say candidates, remember every one of us is a potential candidate for a company, or we have been lately, or it might be in the near future. So we don't know. So think about it not only for your candidates, for your talent pool, but also for you as a person. Think about it. Think it to yourself. Discuss with us. Feel free to reach us later and bring your impressions and eventually difference what we have in Latin America from other parts of the world. So again, what do you look for in an opportunity, right? Is it purpose? Is it stability? Is it growth? Is it training, development? Is it autonomy? I mean, technology. There's so many points out there. And one thing that I would always like to say is that there's no right or wrong in the questions. There's no better or worse. I mean, every company, again, have its own credentials, will have its own attributes, will have its own purpose, etc., etc. You have to know how to connect and how to make sure that people understand, again, what you're trying to say, right? Communication is not about what you...
But what you're bringing...
Huh?
No. I was saying that what you're bringing is very interesting because all of those three elements changes. They change according to the generation that we're talking to. So purpose can mean something to X Gen, totally different thing to a Gen Z, or stability as well. So this is something that is also interesting because you have different segments that...
Exactly. And different generations and different careers and different regions, different cities. I mean, there's so much going on. And in the end of the day, you need to ensure, and it's all about, I mean, it's all about customization. It's all about, each one. And I know you're not going to get your company and do one unique for each person, but how can you, okay, for engineers, I'm this kind of company, this what I deliver. And for this amount of engineers, can be 1,000, 10,000. I mean, depends on how many roles, how many positions you have, how many operations you may have. You have to be important. You have to connect exactly with that segment. And again, employer branding, and I'm going to talk for the next 20 minutes or so. It's not about being the best or not about competition, but connecting with the right people, connecting the right talent. And again, if you do that in the very beginning, before hiring, so we talk about attraction and eventually hiring, then everything that comes with engagement, recognition, development, that everything will flow much better. So
amazing.
Next, let's talk about data and see how that develop and how people can actually get to know us better in Latin America, right? So again, I mentioned that's the survey we've done with different career side, different segments, different countries. So what do you look for in an opportunity, right? So some might be obvious, others may not. So, and again, feel free, Gustavo, to jump in and comment on any of the questions or answers here. So I'm staying ahead in my career. So of course, when you looking for a job, I don't want to go back. Eventually, we go back in salary, eventually go back in the position itself. But even if I go a step back, I'm looking for the future, like into the future, that I'm gonna give 2-3 moves ahead later. So I might go sideways, but I know that, okay, I'll have the same salary or I'll have the same position, but in that company, on that new company, that new organization, it's going to offer me different stuff. And one of the things that I most value is staying ahead in my career. Interesting challenge and work, right? So the routine. I know a lot of companies say, I'm working at my company is like 1 year, seems like I've worked for 7 years, blah, blah, blah. So we hear that sometimes. I don't know if that's good or bad. Depends on the speed of the person. Depends on, again, the match can vary person to person, can vary country to country, etc. But people want to do different stuff. People want to be challenged. People want to get into new stuff, eventually new products, new people. So this is important. Then number 3, which again, some people still might be surprised with that, is compensation and benefits. So it's not number 1, it's not number 2. And if you see some other surveys from different players in the market, you see that it may be number 4 or 5 in the main reasons why people choose a job, right? And everything else that comes with it. So what I mean, trying to sum up here, like when it comes to 5-8%, it's the aspirational. And it's very hard, me as a publicity here, right? An advertisement man in the HR business. It's much harder to sell a career development, nice environment to work, nice people to work with, than a product. Because a product, you have features, you have technology, you have price, you have technology. You can compare, right? You can touch most of the time. So you can compare like a phone to another phone, a car to another car, right? A beer to another beer, whatever. But then why working at this beer company or that beer company? What's there for me, right? So why this company I will have a better career, right? Gustavo, as he presented himself, he's got a great career, and I have mine. We're friends, but whose career is better? I'm not judging. We're still friends, promise. But I mean, who said or who can judge? Who can tell which career is better? Who made a better decision throughout the career? It's much
No, and
harder. It's kind of intangible at some point in time.
no, but it's great that you're bringing this, because lots of people, especially the younger generation, they tend to be too much focused on comparing their what other people are doing, and they forget that their careers are unique. So exactly as you said, so it's not about comparing my career to yours, but it's much more what are my expectations and how
Exactly.
can I fully develop. Because it's interesting that you're bringing that compensation is the third most relevant element that people are looking on opportunity, because used to be number one. If you
Yeah,
look back, I don't know, in a
you're
few
right.
years back, when I
Mhm.
was in the early stages of my career, I can tell you this. When I was looking for my first internships, I was amount of money that I can get from it. So it's not about pay more, and I'll be happy to help you, and I'll be happy to work with you, and regardless if it's brand A or B or C.
Mhm.
And it
Mhm.
seems like that people are more attached to exactly what's in it for me, how this can build my reputation, and how far I can go with this perspective. So interesting point that you're bringing here, Kai. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Here for that. And thanks for contribution. So let's move next because I mean I have a lot to talk and you have a lot to talk as well. So I'll try to be maybe a little bit faster so that you have enough time for you to complement with all the engagement data you bring as well. So why do you go visit a career site, right? So part of the business what we do here, we develop career sites. So I'm looking for a job that might be interesting. So it's not like for any specific job. I mean, I'm or even sometimes I'm looking like I want to get better, to understand better about that company. So I'm doing my homework. As you just mentioned, Gustavo, in the past, first we didn't have information about the companies, right? It's all somewhere else that we didn't have access to. Internet, when we were looking for jobs, were not there, were not easy. We're probably you and I were just sending a lot of like CVs on paper in the very early stage of our careers, right? People would call us on the phone, on a landline phone number, etc. So
Brown envelopes with CVs.
yes, brown envelopes,
Yes.
correct. You're right, and all that. So, so people again, the information is there, and how much people know about your company, and that's probably a little bit that I'm gonna share over the next couple of slides. So if you can move to the next, please. So this is, I mean, I just brought some some curious facts here, like the trailer that convinces to watch the movie, and this is what employer brand is all about. Can be your social media, can be your career site. I mean, you have to have people interested in getting to know you, not yet before applying for a job. They want to understand who you are, what you do, how you do, what you're doing for the world, for the society, for ESG, for diversity. I mean, there's so many questions, and eventually there are not so many answers out there. And that's what you have to connect to the candidate, right? And in an era where it's all about experience, social media. I mean, so you have to kind of beg people to say, hey, please give me a chance. Please come here. Please come to my site. Please read my job description. Please apply. And please keep interested in my recruitment process. And please go up to the end. And please accept my job, my uh, offer letter. Right? So that's the process right now. And if
No,
you
and
don't know how
that's
to tell a
probably
story,
the most difficult part now.
huh?
And this probably the most difficult part now is to get the offer letter signed, because
Exactly.
it's amazing to see how companies are struggling to get something so simple, which is the last stage of the hiring process,
Yep.
closed. So it's amazing.
It
It's
is
really
amazing.
impressive to see
That
how many people, many companies I've been talking to, they say, the my rate of acceptance is as low dedicate a lot of time to go through all the stages of the hiring process. And then when you come to the last stage, which is pretty much just saying, you know everything that you want to know, you're already ready to make a decision, and then the candidate simply declines or say, no, it's not for me.
Yeah.
It's really impressive that is happening nowadays.
And again, you have to be interested, you have to create connection, you have to sell your values, and to present yourself as a company, as people, as again, speak the truth, which again seems obvious, but a lot of companies still don't do that. So then you can move to the next. So that how more or less how we can do this, or what are the expectations and behaviors of the candidates. There you go. So when you go to the career site, so yes, I had an excellent idea, right? So I mean, I think like Radancy, we do a lot of nice career sites, so that helps, and that might interfere on the final answer here. So maybe other companies that don't invest in nice career sites or invest in employer brand overall, so they might not find the same kind of results, right? So I have a good idea of what it would be like to work at the company. I have some idea, blah, blah, blah. And again, that's pretty much your first and maybe last touch or contact with that candidate. So if I come to your site, can be through social media, through referral, through an event, whatever. If I come to a career site, and that's where I have the chance to say, hey, look at me. This is what I do. This is who I am. Come here. These are the people that are behind the stage, blah, blah. If you don't actually do that, you lost people, right? And we have some other data. It's not in here, but like some bad career site or bad brands, they might have up to 80 or 90% of bounce rate. So people come, every 10 people, 8 or 9, they just close the page and they just go away forever. So you're not.
So they leave the product on the cart. So it's like they go to an online store, they select a lot of items in the cart, shopping cart, and then leave without finishing the sale.
Exactly. Actually, they might not even add some products into the cart, but still, that's how bad or how challenging can be, putting your brand and telling your stories in front of the people. We can move on to the next, please. So this is nice too. So based on what I've seen, right? So what I believe the company is a leading company in its segment. So it's about reputation here, one of the leaders in its segment. And one thing that I want to bring here very quickly is that being top of mind or number one in your segment as a company, as a product, or as a service, doesn't mean you have the best talent, or doesn't mean you're going to attract the best people to work with you. So you have your brand and your employer brand. That's why we add the employer before the brand, and that's why we talk about all the time employer brand, because, and we see here all the time in LATAM as well. Some other markets, like the product or service might attract more people, but here you can be, number one bank, number one soft drink, number one whatever. Doesn't mean you have the best candidates, and these companies are struggling to find the best people, and their SLAs are.
And it's also interesting how people still confuse the corporate brand with the employer brand. So this is something that is also remarkable, how people misjudge the corporate brand and say, well, this is the attributes of the corporate brand, and then I assume.
Yep, you're right. So, and they think they don't need to invest.
People get
they don't need to have any strategy for that. So anyways, we're trying to bring again, how is doing business and how is doing the talking to candidates and employees here in Brazil. So we can go to in Brazil, sorry, no, Latin America. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is cool. So again, what's most attractive about this company? Again, potential for professional development. So how you develop people, have like those testimonials, and have the different initiatives. You have mentorship, you have training programs, whatever. So you have to tell these people, because maybe your employees know, maybe your employees will help you to promote it. But again, your career site and your social media, when you talk to talent, that's how you're going to convince people, at least in the first part of the funnel. These people, okay, look interesting, looks promising, right? Then we spoke about it a little bit, so the mission and purpose. And again, there's no right or wrong in this. Is my mission better or worse? Is my purpose, is it noble, is it not? I mean, not interested in judging it. You just have to have it clear. People need to be clear about what you do, how you do, again, how you deliver, and the culture. So if you see here, in the end of the day, it's all about the people and less about the product, service, and even the corporate brand we just mentioned. So again, who are you? Oh, do I want to work with Gustavo? How's it working with Caio? That means investigate it. So then you go to do the research, blah blah blah, and then you make a decision whether should I apply for a position, yes or no? Should I keep be motivated in a recruitment process, yes or no?
So, and in a time of the world where you can Google everybody's name and you can see lots of things that is going on. So imagine that few years nowadays you can Google Gustavo and see how does it look like to work with Gustavo. What is his online reputation? What people, what other colleagues or former employees or former people who work with him, how do they respond to him? So what was the climate that he generated? So is something good? Do people appreciate having worked with him or not? So this is the kind of reputation that I see more and more people are sometimes neglecting it. So it's something that is part of your reputation. It's part of your employability, to be honest. So if you don't have this, 100%. you can be as good time to find a job, especially leading people. So that's something that is, and thank you for bringing this, Caio, because this is something that is, most of the people still don't realize this, that you are as good as you are able to be recognized online. So this is a good indicator of how candidates especially are paying attention to everything that you do online.
And you have no option, right? Being alive, you're online then, right? So your brand is there, your people are there. And besides Google, now you have the AIs, right? The ChatGPTs, etc., that have more conversation. So you can ask more questions. And actually, some of the career sites we're seeing, especially not in LATAM yet, but overseas, maybe in Europe and definitely in the US, they do have the AI already within the career site. So people are talking to the career site. So, hey, tell me about your culture. So what happens if someone does this? What if? So people are started. It's still like kind of somehow it's new, but for the next year, it's going to take over for sure. It's like talking to an AI. So should I work for this company? What's good there? Blah. Again, it's more than the Google, because Google, you do little search, right? In the AI, you literally chat with it. So it's a big conversation, and the amount of information is there, and what kind of perception does the AI have about your brand reputation? That's something companies haven't realized yet, and they need to look after. They need to see, oops, is it good or bad? Because remember, you tell AI or you teach AI, right? The AI is going to learn from us. So if you have someone maybe that's, I don't know, a competitor saying bad things about you, so that's the kind of answer AI will give to the candidates. So just remember that. I'm not trying to be polemic, but it's true.
And the abundance of data, Caio, because imagine that nowadays validate your decision-making process than you used to have in the past. So what used to take a lot of research, was to take a lot of study, lots of reading, nowadays you can go and you can you can validate a business idea, or you can validate the strategy on ChatGPT in a quicker and more effective way than it used to be in the past. So, but what I see also, Caio, and this is something that we like to explore a little further as we move on with the decades, how can we have this data being used the right way? Because what I see is that data, we just don't know what to do with the data, or we still are struggling with the options that we have in front of us, and we're still saying, we have so much to because I just don't know if I want to make a decision because I have too much in front of me and I have no idea what to do next. So this is something that is quite remarkable.
So just a couple of slides so that you can move to your part. So more about the timing as well. about connections, right? So people always try to find someone that works or has worked for that company. So I mean, people don't know yet, but you see, I read about people who work at the company. I met people who work at the company. So I have friends who have worked at the company. So in the end of the day, it's all about people, right? Doesn't matter the color of your brand, doesn't matter how nice is your video, how nice is your social media, etc. But again, it's people talking to people. Again, AI has some kind of role. It's going to increase, and we don't have yet a position or an opinion on that yet. We know it's growing. You know, people are using it, but it's all about people to people, right? Especially with different social media. So oh, Gustavo, let me talk to Gustavo. Let me know who's connected to Gustavo, who has worked with Gustavo. Let me understand if he's a good leader, yes or no. So people do that more and more, and people are more open to help people. People are listen and creating conversations so that again you can find your perfect match. So yes, well, Gustavo was a great leader. You can go work with him. It's going to be nice. He was a nice company. Blah blah blah. So again, just information and the just facts.
References at the end of the day.
Yeah. And remember, I would talk about salary, etc. So here we go again, right? Is you mentioned benefits. So to join this company, I would accept something similar. So again, I'm moving sideways. It's not about money. It's moving ahead in my career. It's professional development, right? It's about the people I'm going to work with. It's the autonomy or the projects I'll be involved, right? I would require an increase. So that's still, and why people usually, that's something important I'm going to say here, okay? Pay attention. Gustavo. Why people
Yes.
eventually they want to ask for an increase in the current compensation? Because they're not secure about the company that they're about to join. They don't know much about the company. So how they kind of make some kind of compensation or some kind of, I forgot the word here, like hedge, like it's like a hedge. So okay, if everything goes not as much as I had expected, so at least I made more money. But if you have a strong employer brand, then it would be good. It would have been. I would go to the company to start making less money, but I know that I'm going to develop myself. I'm going to learn, blah blah blah. And in 3
with
4 years,
greater
I'm going
opportunities
to
as well.
make much more money than if I had stayed in that same company. So that's the power of a brand.
This is interesting. We have discussed this offline in many occasions, Kai, but it's interesting to see how many people still use the X on LinkedIn. So part of the value that those people are bringing is to have worked for big brands, big companies, and then they use this as part of his. So these are my credentials. You see, so see, I used to work for this company, and now I work for this one. So look how good I am. So this is also very interesting because it reinforces what you're saying. That is not just about money. It's not money alone. Let me put it this way. But it's also money.
Yep.
Cool.
And I mean, it is what it is. Next, so that I can go. Yeah, thank you. So what motivates you most at work? So learning, impact, people, right? Good professional relationships. Then you have a little bit of everything. But again, I want to get ahead. At the end of the day, if you go back, you don't need to, but I mean, if you go back like 5-6 slides, so it's getting ahead in my career, right? So opportunity to learn. If I learn, I'm going to have better opportunities. I'm going to grow in my career. So everything that comes within learning. So how you develop people, what kind of incentive have you got? What kind of training program and process and partnerships, whatever have you got? And don't stick to you. Don't hold to you. Put it everywhere. Put it in our career site. Put it on social media. Make people talk about it. Promote it. Because that's what's gonna best motivate people to at least give you the chance, as I said, to apply to your job, and then everything that comes with it, right? So remember, that's important. That's very important. And then again, purpose, mission. So the impact that we're gonna do in people's lives. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So with that, Caio, what do you tell me? So do you think that companies have the necessary information for them to intelligence on strategy, on how they position themselves in the market? How do you see that?
I see it very simple. They have, because it's all internal information, how you develop people, what's your mission, purpose, blah, 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 how you pay people. I mean, everything that I've said, people will know internally. But, and the challenge and opportunity lies on how do I promote it? What are the channels? What are the people? Right? So how do I do that? And having a strategy in place to say, okay, I need to, as I mentioned, like, hire engineers, I need to hire, software, blah, blah, blah. I need to hire, salespeople. So who are 4 or 5 key personas, and how do I connect with them? And remember, engineers have tons of engineers, and what are the ones that we're going to connect with you, with their message, and how,
Yes.
and something very important is not only here you're going to grow your career. No, tell me how. Show me who are the people that have grown, and
Exactly.
how many people are there. So tell me how actually you do that in the real life. That's the most
Fantastic.
important. That's again where the opportunity sits, because I don't see that people. And then people can do that homework later. If you get, depends on the ad you see on LinkedIn or even career site, whatever. If you change the logo or the color, works for me, works for the competitor, works for any company. You're not talking anything about your company. So what numbers eventually can you share? Percentage? I don't know. Professional growth. Okay, we have promoted 70% of the people in the last 3 years, whatever. I don't know what the number would be. But tell me something about how you do. It's not about saying, it's about showing exactly what you've done or how you do it.
Fantastic insights.
That's the main thing that I can tell people is show off in a good sense, in a good manner. Show off your brand, show off what
show
you
yourself.
do, show off your employees, right?
And this is exactly what has to do with the second segment of this presentation, Caio, because most of the struggle that we see in companies that they have all this information, they don't know what to do with that. And then when we move on, so there's another slide here for you. Sorry,
That's okay.
I was
okay.
already.
I would say you mentioned in some point in time about turnover and the rates of engagement and all that. It's just like nearly 80% of the people are ready to make a change today. So if they're inbox on LinkedIn and say, "Hey, Gustavo, how about my company?" So again, you might just lose someone in a couple of clicks. Depends on the story. Someone else will tell your current employee.
No, also a remarkable percentage here, almost 77% of people. Yes, this is remarkable.
80%.
But again, looking at what people are expecting. So what are the relevant insights that you have to share with us, Caio?
So as I mentioned, so people are there to get ahead in their careers. Starts with learning. Learning gives them, different access and different promotions and different areas and different projects. So learning is definitely this primary motivator, right? Along with this professional development, because and again, just don't say you have this training. So how many people are there? Which countries? Do you have like a global site for whatever? Again, I don't know. If you give me 5 minutes with each company that's watching us here, I can tell you from each company how they can promote themselves. I can, try to brainstorm some of the data, what they're doing internally. And again, don't hesitate. Externalize, the more and more better for you, right? As I mentioned, like the market recognition. So this, am I a leader, yes or no, in terms of corporate brand? Okay, good for you. But okay, are you as good as a corporate brand as an employer brand? So my expectations with your product or service are that high. But for my career, is it the same? Are people as satisfied in their career as they are with your services? This is what you need to bring at some point, like you can do that. And again, this connection with the company. So again, people will tend to look for people within that has worked or still works in the company, so that you can create that connection. Say, okay, is this real? I watched this video. Oh, it's nice, but is this real? They said they promoted 70% of the people. Is this real? So you again, publicity can be anything, right? Can be nice, beautiful, but is this for real? And how can you do that when you have employees commenting on your social media? When you have employees not like the real people, real employees, exposing themselves. So I'm Kai, I work for this company, I've been here for 9 years, blah, blah, blah. So, and then I'm exposing myself. I'm kind of lending my image to that company. I'm not doing that. I mean, doing that for free, but I mean, if I don't believe that, I'm not going to put my face with that logo, even if I work there for 9 years. So again,
awesome.
People need
This
people.
validation.
Yep, people need people. That's what it is.
Excellent. Fantastic, Caio. So let me move quickly to the next segment of our presentation.
Please.
It's a very few slides, so we know exactly how can we help, especially the companies that are, considering making initiatives regarding everything related to engagement. So one of the things that we help people, and Caio and I, as jury members of the Inspire Workplaces Awards, we normally see, okay, so what is the situation? How can we see things working? So what we see is that there's a great opportunity at post-survey initiative. As we saw, the amount of data that we have is fantastic, it's overwhelming. But what are we actually doing with this data? So how can we collect a lot of feedback, but we simply fail to act on it? So the question that we normally say, with that amount of data, we already ask another question, and the company says, well, you asked me, but nothing changed. So how can this erodes trust? How can this damage the credibility, engagement efforts of your company? And how can we have, and we see this as the biggest opportunity in terms of how can we employee experiences initiatives within your company. So this is something that we're discussing right now. Some indicators that I'm going to share with you, not necessarily leading or lagging, but we normally see them as complementing each other. But we see that when they work alone, they tend to lose a little bit of their power. So, for example, what is the percentage of teams with post-survey action plans? Something that we see, and this is historical, especially in the companies I've been working with, the action plans tends to focus on the people that are already engaged, people that are already committed, and we leave a huge part of everybody who is either disengaged or not engaged. There's a difference between the two of them, that are just left behind because the action plans are not focused on them. So how can we take these people that, as in the beginning of this call, we're calling them the quiet quitters? So how can we put these people back in the game? How can we put these people back on track? And how can we cadence the feedback and loops and frequency recognition of those people? So how much more frequent can we have these conversations going? So instead of just having bi-weekly or bi-monthly or every quarter conversations, how can we make this part of daily life that I give to my team is something that I will value, something that will bring them towards engagement.
And Gustavo, that's sorry, just to help you here. I think that's the oldest challenge in the company, in each company, and everywhere in the world, is communication, right? It's the lack of communication, lack of transparency. Yes. We see that all the time, right? Because exactly what you just brought. Okay, so I answer. So what has changed with the? I mean, people are saying what's not good, what's working, what's not. So what change have I seen? Nothing. Even if you don't have nothing to say, hey guys, okay, we've noticed that there are 10 things here, 5 we cannot do, 3 we're gonna solve in the near future, and the other 2 we're gonna plan for the next quarter, the next year, whatever. So lack of communication.
And it's better for you. And it's better for you to say, I have nothing to, I have no updates.
Yeah.
But that's life, because I have no updates. So that's what. But you let people know that you have no updates. So it's not something that the communication is cut. They don't have any more references in terms of what's going on. So one of the things that I put my consulting hat here and try to put together is that, especially for those that are attending today's call, that are taking. So I put together this 5A inspirational playbook, something that we can work on. So align purpose with priorities, activate leaders as coaches, start making actions in 90 days, amplify employee voice, and appreciate with proof, with recognition. This is something that is very interesting, because this 5A's is something that I put together just to help you on the journey through the recognition as an Inspire Workplace company. And this is something that is also interesting. Caio and I were on the junior board, as we said, and interesting to mention that all three had a perfect score in the employee experience category. So this is something that is a kind of an insider's tip. So pay attention to that, because if you're good, doing a good job, listening to people and guarantee that they have the right experience, you're most likely to be one of the most inspiring workplaces in your region. So I have connected those 5 A's with the 6 elements of the Inspire Workplace certification. So this is something that is also very interesting. So we can, for example, connect culture and purpose with aligning priorities, leadership, voice, we amplify voices, employee experience with actions in 9 days, well-being recognition with appreciation with proof, and inclusion and communication, as Kai was already mentioning, this is go all across the board. So this is goes in a way that covers all the 6 elements, and we can have this as an important part of the production of these materials and the communications that we'll be sharing with your colleagues and employees. So in summary, already finishing, ready to wrapping up. So it's get to know the multiple talents, very, very emphatic about how people have different needs, different expectations. Same questions can be applied to very different demographies, different generations. So how can we know the multiple talents within an organization? This is another tip that I like to bring. Focus on engaging people instead of retaining. This is so critical, and many people are failing in focusing on retaining people, while instead they should be focusing on engaging. I know that Caio has a very similar opinion of mine on this topic, and to focus on engagement rather than retention. Retention is something that you're forcing people to stay, and we want people, invite people to stay. That's the difference. The verb between those two is how can we make sure that people are incentivized to stay. That's a good point of this. So measuring without acting destroys trust. No, this is pretty much straightforward. So there's no big rocket science behind this. So this is something that is very, very strong, and I guess the message is very clear to everybody. So make sure that everything that you're doing, act, communicate. Otherwise, you will be destroying the trust that people has on post engagement. So this is something that is also very important. So it doesn't matter if the feedback is short or long or frequent or not. Make sure that you provide your people with feedback, and then this recognition will make sure that you have engagement, because people will see what you're doing. They will be able to recognize this as something that they value, and they will be working on. And the 90-day loop that we were considering is that first 30 days, try to show and share results, commit to 2 or 3 top priorities, not more than that. On the days 31 to 60, embedded ritual from days 61 to 90. Feedback loops closed, metrics tracked and shared, so everybody knows exactly what is expected from them. Everybody exactly knows what to do, what is the game plan, what they should be focusing at. Final notes. Caio and I are really excited to have you as part of the Inspire Workplace Awards in 2026. So this is the #1 World's People First Award. So make sure that you join. Early bird ends at November 28th. We had an amazing group this year. So looking forward to having. It will be a blast, and it will be a lot of fun for me and for Caio to evaluate all your business cases and make sure that you have on the right tracks. And finally, Caio, thank you again, my friend. We made it on time.
Sorry to put in a hurry. But I mean, we had a great discussion about the data.
But the biggest chunk of the content was on your side. So thank you, my friend, again for making the time, for putting all this amazing material together, and to share all your knowledge with all of us. Thank you again.
It's always a pleasure to be here. A pleasure to share the stage with you. Thanks for conducting us here as our host for LATAM, representing us very well. And thanks for the opportunities, right? And all the inspiring workplace people on the backstage here and throughout the journey we've been together. So count on us. And anyone that wants to get to know better about LATAM, about Brazil, whatever, not only about football, right? There's a lot of more going on.
I guess
besides,
we're not in a good spot. Yes.
Please talk to us.
Yeah, this QR code takes you to our LinkedIn profiles. So please feel free. It will be a pleasure to connect with you there as well. Finishing up LATAM's.
Just in time.
Right before we start with North America, then I pass it to Matt Manners, CEO of Inspire Workplace, who will be taking this session. We'll be carrying on with all of you. It has been my utmost pleasure to be here with you guys. Thank you again. See you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.